The killer, a woman in her early 30s named Olivia, was known for her charm and poise. She blended seamlessly into her community, her perfect exterior concealing a dark side few ever saw. Her victim, a former colleague named Sarah, had unwittingly become a target after a long-standing feud simmered beyond repair. What seemed like petty workplace rivalries turned into something far more sinister when Sarah stumbled upon information that could destroy Olivia's carefully crafted image. Unable to bear the thought of her reputation crumbling, Olivia hatched a plan that was as cold-blooded as it was meticulous. She invited Sarah to a secluded location under the guise of reconciliation. Sarah, always one to believe in second chances, agreed without suspicion. That night, the unthinkable happened. Olivia confronted Sarah with a venomous tirade, accusing her of betrayal and sabotage. The argument escalated, and Olivia's temper flared uncontrollably. In a fit of rage, she struck Sarah with a heavy object, leaving her lifeless on the ground. Breathing heavily and staring at the aftermath of her actions, Olivia realized there was no turning back. She cleaned up with chilling precision, disposing of evidence and making it seem as though Sarah had disappeared without a trace. But what Olivia did next was truly shocking. Just hours after committing the heinous act, she attended a party, laughing, dancing, and raising a glass as if nothing had happened. To those around her, she appeared radiant, exuding confidence and charm. Yet, beneath the surface, her mind raced with thoughts of whether she had covered all her tracks. She convinced herself that no one would ever suspect her, believing the celebration would further solidify her alibi. What Olivia didn't realize was that her actions had set into motion a series of events that would soon expose her darkest secret. As Olivia reveled at the party, she believed she had staged the perfect alibi. Her laughter echoed through the room as she clinked glasses with friends and charmed everyone around her. It was a stark contrast to the grim events that had unfolded just hours earlier. Every detail had been planned meticulously, or so she thought. But in her overconfidence, Olivia overlooked one crucial flaw. The world is always watching, and these days it watches through cameras, social media, and a network of people who never stop talking. Unbeknownst to Olivia, one of Sarah's friends had grown suspicious almost immediately when Sarah failed to show up for an event she had eagerly discussed just the day before. Calls to Sarah's phone went unanswered, and by the evening, her family was already concerned enough to file a missing person report. Meanwhile, Olivia's celebratory antics were being documented on social media. A party guest posted a video of Olivia laughing with a drink in hand, captioned with glowing praise for her seemingly carefree spirit. The video quickly caught the attention of Sarah's friend, who knew about the recent tension between Olivia and Sarah. The stark contrast between Sarah's unexplained absence and Olivia's conspicuous celebration was unsettling. Back at the police station, investigators began piecing together Sarah's last known movements. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station showed Sarah entering a car that matched the description of Olivia's vehicle. This discovery raised immediate red flags. By the time the police began contacting those close to Sarah for questioning, Olivia's name surfaced more than once. As officers reviewed the timeline of events, Olivia's alibi seemed suspiciously too convenient. The seemingly innocuous party celebration that she thought would protect her was about to become the first thread unraveling her carefully spun web of lies. The police wasted no time acting on the leads they had gathered. Olivia, still riding the high of her perceived success, was oblivious to the mounting evidence against her. Investigators began interviewing party attendees, asking pointed questions about Olivia's behavior that night. One guest mentioned how unusually exuberant Olivia had been, even describing her as over the top. Another recalled a brief moment when Olivia had excused herself to take a phone call, her expression shifting from cheerful to tense before quickly masking it with her usual charm. These observations painted a picture of someone trying too hard to appear carefree. Simultaneously, the investigators dug deeper into Olivia's connection to Sarah. They uncovered a string of emails from months earlier detailing a bitter dispute over sensitive company information that Sarah had threatened to expose. Motive became increasingly clear. The surveillance footage from the gas station, coupled with Olivia's erratic behavior at the party, was enough to justify a search warrant for her home and vehicle. When detectives arrived at Olivia's house, she greeted them with a composed demeanor, feigning ignorance about Sarah's disappearance. But as they began their search, cracks in her facade started to show. In her garage, they found a small stain on the floor that appeared suspicious. A preliminary field test indicated the presence of blood. Additionally, in her trash bin, they uncovered a partially burned piece of fabric matching the description of the clothes Sarah was last seen wearing. Still, Olivia held firm to her alibi, insisting she had spent the evening at the party with dozens of witnesses to vouch for her. But when detectives confronted her with the surveillance footage showing Sarah in her car and the mounting physical evidence, Olivia's confident exterior began to crumble. The net was tightening, and she could feel it. As the investigation intensified, Olivia's world began to unravel. Detectives methodically dissected her carefully constructed alibi, revealing inconsistencies that cast doubt on her story. They discovered that Olivia had left the party for an unexplained hour-long absence. Time she had claimed was spent running an errand. Her attempt to appear nonchalant at the party now seemed like a deliberate performance. Investigators also found a troubling detail. Olivia's phone had pinged near the remote area where Sarah's body was eventually discovered. Confronted with this evidence, Olivia remained defiant, but the cracks in her story were becoming impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, forensic experts analyzed the bloodstain found in Olivia's garage. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Sarah, a damning piece of evidence that directly linked Olivia to the crime. Additionally, fibers from the burned fabric in her trash matched Sarah's clothing, and the remnants of ash contained traces of soil consistent with the location where Sarah's body had been buried. Olivia's confidence faltered as these discoveries piled up, each one tightening the noose around her. The final blow came when the police retrieved deleted text messages from Olivia's phone. These messages revealed her desperate attempts to lure Sarah to the secluded location under the pretense of making amends. The tone shifted as the night progressed, with Olivia sending increasingly aggressive messages demanding Sarah's compliance. The timeline painted a chilling picture of premeditation, exposing Olivia's intention to silence Sarah once and for all. With mounting evidence and a collapsing alibi, Olivia became visibly distressed. Her once pristine image was in shambles, and the walls of her carefully crafted life were closing in. Investigators knew they were close to securing a confession, but Olivia's next move would shock everyone. It was no longer a question of if she would be caught. It was only a matter of how. The day Olivia's downfall became inevitable, she made a last-ditch effort to maintain her innocence. Summoned for formal questioning, she arrived at the police station impeccably dressed, her demeanor calm yet strained. However, her confidence wavered as detectives laid out the overwhelming evidence against her. They detailed the surveillance footage, the bloodstain in her garage, the fabric remnants in her trash, and the damning text messages. With every new revelation, Olivia's composed mask slipped further. Finally, the investigators showed her the social media post from the party, a video of her laughing and celebrating just hours after Sarah's murder. Her expression froze, the realization dawning that her actions had betrayed her. Desperate and cornered, Olivia tried to spin a new narrative. She claimed Sarah had threatened her first and that the confrontation had escalated beyond her control. But the premeditated nature of her actions, luring Sarah to an isolated location, the deleted texts, and the attempts to destroy evidence, told a far darker story. Her excuses only deepened the investigators' resolve to bring her to justice. While Olivia clung to her crumbling lies, detectives obtained a search warrant for her digital devices. Hidden deep within her cloud backups, they found unedited footage from her own phone. Among the files was a video Olivia had accidentally recorded, capturing her voice moments after the murder. In the recording, she muttered to herself, "No one will ever know." This chilling piece of evidence was the final nail in the coffin. Confronted with the undeniable truth, Olivia broke down. Her tears, however, didn't evoke sympathy. They were the tears of someone who had gambled everything and lost. She was arrested on the spot, her twisted sense of triumph shattered. Her post-murder celebration, once a symbol of her audacity, had ultimately been her undoing.